morning, dear students. My name is Dr. Shuaib Mohammad Bhat. I am working as Assistant Professor in the Department of English at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Today in this video lecture, I shall be discussing a question bank on vocabulary and grammar. Vocabulary and grammar is the third module in your syllabus. So we shall be discussing in today's video lecture, we shall be discussing about the question bank which aligns with module third, that is vocabulary and grammar. We'll see what type of questions from module third are expected to come in your examination or may come in your examination. We shall be just discussing those questions, or we shall be discussing such sample questions by which you can get an idea what are the different categories of questions which are there in your question paper and what sort of questions are coming in the exams. So for that reason, we are going to discuss this question bank today. As far as your question paper is concerned, it has three parts: Part A, Part B, Part C. Part A contains critical thinking questions and problem solving questions. In Part A, there are such questions by which your problem solving skill and critical thinking skill is being checked or will be checked. So we have second part, that is long answer questions, where your content and everything like language, sentence structure, these things will be checked. Then we have the third part, that is short answer questions, short answer type questions, where your precision and conciseness will be checked. So these are the different parts, or these are the different categories of your question paper. Now the first part is problem solving and critical thinking questions. Now these are the questions where you have to use your problem solving skill and you have to show your critical thinking skill while answering such questions. So it includes that it's better to go with the examples for the first part of your questions, because with the help of examples, with the help of different illustrations, we can better show our problem solving skill and we can show critical thinking ability or skill. Now the question may be like this: what is the importance of idioms and phrases in English language? The question may be like this: as idioms and phrases, these concepts are in your syllabus, the question may be on them. Maybe like this. Question may not be same. This may be not the question in your exam, but like this question may come in your exam. So it is about importance of idioms and phrases in English language. So if we look upon the idioms and phrases, we cannot just run away from idioms and phrases. No doubt we can speak better without the use of idioms and phrases, but idioms and phrases are the key concepts in any sort of conversation or in any language, which makes your speaking or which makes your language more ornamental, more attractive, more decorative, and they help you to simplify the complex ideas, to simplify the complex concepts which you want to convey to the audience. So this is the function of, or this is the role of idioms and phrases. Apart from this thing, a lot of functions and a lot of roles these two concepts are having in English language, we shall be discussing in detail. The first thing is cultural expression. I would like to deliberate on cultural expression. What's cultural expression? Idioms, they often reflect the culture and history of a language. When we talk about idioms, idiom is means these are group of words which do not contain surface meaning, rather than they are having some deep meaning, figurative meaning they are containing. They are not containing this literal meaning. Because there is an idiom like this: pull a leg or pulling a leg. What does this mean, pulling a leg? Its surface meaning is showing us, or it's telling us that somebody is pulling someone's leg. But that's not the case. Pulling a leg means cracking a joke. Like we speak to the people, like kidding to someone. Hey, I'm not serious. I was just pulling a leg. I was pulling your leg. Means I was just cracking a joke. I was just kidding with you. So they contain the figurative meaning, but not the literal meaning. And when we talk about idioms, idioms closely interrelate themselves with the culture and history of a language. When we talk about idioms, you will see idioms, they reflect culture. Because every culture is having different idioms. You will see in different places, different idioms are being used. And they also talk about the history of a language. Because your idiom, that is the production of the language. So they talk about the history of a language. Now, understanding idioms provides insight into the values, customs, and traditions of a particular society. If you understand idioms, if you know idioms, what can these idioms give you? They provide you the knowledge of the values, customs, traditions of a particular society. Because as I told you, idioms, they change from one society to another, one culture to another culture. So now if you have the knowledge of different idioms, you come to know about the values, customs, and traditions of a particular society. And mostly all the idioms, they are cultural outcome. So they have the background which just connects them with the culture. So they have been extracted from different cultures on different happenings. So in this way we can say idioms, they show us the culture, they make us aware with the different cultures existing in the world. Then the next importance of idioms and phrases is that's figurative language. Now what is figurative language? If we talk about idioms, they are a form of figurative language, and they add color and expressiveness to speech and writing. So if we talk about idioms, they are a form of figurative language. Obviously, figurative language means when we are using some figures of speech like simile, metaphor, oxymoron, onomatopoeia, the different these poetic devices or figures of speech when we are using them in our writing. The same is the case, idioms, they are a form of figurative language. They don't contain literal meaning. They are a form of figurative language. And they add color and expressiveness to our speech and writing. When we use idioms in our spoken language, they make it more colorful and they make it more expressive. And when we use idioms in our written language, they make it more colorful, make it more bright, and they make it more expressive. Then they allow speakers to convey complex ideas or emotions in a concise and vivid manner. These idioms, they allow a person what? To convey complex ideas or emotions. As I told you, with the help of idioms, we can simplify the ambiguous concepts. So idioms, they are allowing a person to use or to convey complex or ambiguous ideas in a concise and vivid manner. This is the function of idioms. The next point is nuanced communication, varied communication. What does this mean? Idioms are used to convey nuanced meanings that may not be easily expressed through literal language. They allow for subtlety and creativity in communication. So these idioms, they are used to convey what? Nuanced meanings, different meanings. As I told you, an idiom cannot convey the literal meaning. Rather, it conveys a different meaning. And idioms in general, they convey different meanings. And these meanings, they may not be easily expressed through literal language. And these meanings, we cannot express them through literal language. Means it is difficult. We can express, but it may not have that effect or impact on the listener as it gets the impact with the help of idioms. And they allow for subtlety and creativity in communication. These idioms, they make our communication subtle, and at the same time they make our communication very creative. This is the function of idioms in communication. Then, natural and fluent speech. Now, what is this natural and fluent speech? Native speakers, they commonly use idioms in everyday conversation. To truly understand and speak a language fluently, it is essential to be familiar with idiomatic expressions. When we talk about natural speech or fluent speech, natural speech means to know speech well. To know speech according to its all limitations, according to all its domain. That's natural speech which we speak for conversation, which we use for conversation. Fluent speech, where you can speak fluently, proficiently, where you know what to speak, when to speak, and where to speak, and how to speak. The native speakers, when we talk about native speakers, they use idioms in their everyday conversation. So this means to truly understand and speak a language fluently, if we want to understand a language and if we want to speak a language fluently, it's essential for all of us to be in touch with idioms or idiomatic expressions. Then we all should know, we all must know idioms, and we should have the vast knowledge of idioms. Then, enhanced communication skills. Knowing idioms and phrases, they improve communication skills. It helps learners express themselves more effectively and understand native speakers better, even in informal colloquial settings. So, knowing idioms and phrases, when we know idioms and phrases, it improves our communication skill. Obviously, when you have the vast knowledge of idioms and phrases, you can use such idioms and phrases in your communication. So when you are using idioms and phrases in your communication skill will be an enhanced communication skill. People will love to listen to you. You will be having an impact on the listeners. You can easily persuade listeners to accept your orders and commands. You can educate a huge group of people. Then the next point is literary significance. These idioms and phrases, they are having idiomatic significance. They are having literary significance, Idioms are prevalent in literature, poetry, and other forms of creative writing. Writers use them to add depth to their work and create a connection with the audience. If we see these idioms and phrases, they are not only being used for daily conversation. We do not only use idioms for our bargaining, for our trade, for our domestic conversation. No, they are having literary significance as well. We use them in poetry, we use them in other forms of writing, we use them in literature, in fiction, in non-fiction, in dramas, in novels. So when we use them, we can add depth. Wherever we use idioms and phrases, so that literary work that receives the depth, that becomes very deeper work because of the use of idioms. And these idioms, they also create a connection with the audience. When you are using idioms and phrases in your conversation, you are maintaining a connection with the audience, because your audience, they prefer you to speak in such idiomatic expressions. Because whenever you are using idioms, so you seem that you are bound to the culture, and everybody would love to listen the language which is the output or influenced by his or her culture. Then it has cognitive benefits. What are cognitive benefits? Learning and understanding idioms can stimulate cognitive processes. It requires thinking beyond the literal meaning and grasping the intended figurative sense. So you can make the better use of your mind, your intellect, your IQ when you use idioms in your expressions. Because idioms, they require high thinking, which it is thinking beyond the literal meaning. Because when you are using an idiom, you are not using it for the literal meaning, and people cannot grasp its literal meaning. So you are using these idioms for figurative sense. So when a reader or a writer, when a writer is using idioms in his speech, in his writing, so he's going through the cognitive processes. He's just refreshing his mental abilities. Same is the case when a reader reads any text which contains these idioms. So he or she is going through the cognitive process where he or she is brushing up the mental abilities. Then another point is social integration. What is social integration? Using idioms appropriately can contribute to social integration. When learners are familiar with idioms, they can participate more comfortably in conversation and social interactions. Use of idioms can bring social integration. It can develop interpersonal relationship. It can give rise to the social integration among the people. People will be united in a society because when you use idioms which are familiar to the people, so you can participate more comfortably in any conversation. And when you are able to participate in a conversation with the people with whom you live, obviously there would be an integration because you're talking to each other, you are sharing your woes, you are sharing all your mishappenings or misfortunes, and at the same time you are also sharing your good times. So sharing is caring. When you share, when you talk to the people, each other, so you are developing your social relationships, social interaction, and that gives birth to social integration. Then we have another term which is global communication. So if we use idioms, or I can say idioms are more often used, shared among speakers of a language, making them an integral part of global communication. So being familiar with idioms can facilitate communication with people from different English-speaking regions. We are right now talking about English language. So you see nowadays these idioms are being used by the speakers across the globe. Across the globe, the speakers, they prefer to use idioms in their conversation. Now, if you are aware with the idioms, you can be the part of that global communication. You can understand any speaker. You can listen to any speaker. You can just get knowledge from any speaker across the globe when you have the knowledge of idioms. Because these idioms, they are an integral part of global communication. Then we have next point, that is creativity in expression. Creativity in expression. Idioms, they provide a creative way to express ideas. They allow speakers to use language in imaginative ways, contributing to a richer and more varied linguistic experience. So these idioms, they make your expression, they make your dialogue, your discourse more creative. And they allow speakers to use language which is based in imaginative ways. And when you are using language in imaginative ways, you are contributing to a richer and more varied linguistic experience. This is one more function of idioms in English language. Now, I would like to conclude this question like, idioms and phrases are not just linguistic quakers, they are fundamental concepts of language that contribute to effective communication. So they are not like linguistic signals only. They are not linguistic quakers. Then what are they? They are fundamental components of a language that contribute to effective communication. They help you. They can serve you for the effective communication. So they are fundamental components for effective communication. Your communication cannot be effective communication until and unless you are not using idioms and phrases in your communication. So they contribute, they make your communication effective. You can have the cultural understanding with the help of idioms, and richness of your expression will be rich, it will be bold, it will be attractive, it will make people spellbound and captive in both spoken and written forms of English. So this is all about first question. Let's move to the second one. The second question is, explain the importance of punctuation in different contexts with suitable examples. Importance. So now the next topic in your syllabus is about punctuation. We shall be discussing about the importance of punctuation in different contexts with suitable examples. See, when we talk about punctuation we are using in written language, and punctuation is being used to convey meaning, to clarify relationship between words, and to guide the readers to go from one idea to another idea. So for these purposes we are using punctuation in writing. It's for these purposes we are using punctuation in writing. And see, in spoken communication I am using body language right now, my facial expressions, my eye movements, my body gestures, they are helping me to convey my idea. But when I write, there is no body language. When I write a letter to you, how can I show the importance and significance of all the sentences which I am writing there? So for that purpose, for the body language, for the impact of body language, we are using punctuation marks. For example, I want you to be attentive in order to understand the next upcoming points in my lecture. So I am making you aware. I am just using my oral communication and my body language. I speak like this. I want you to be aware. Please be aware, because I am going to speak something which is very important. So by using the body language, I create such a scene that you all are becoming very, very, very conscious, because you all come to know that sir is going to speak something which is important. Now, how can I bring this emotion in my written content? So we all know we are using colon when we are introducing something which requires attention. So if in writing we require colon, that means we are using body language there. So it is rightly just said by someone that punctuation marks, they play the role of body language in written communication. Oh, it's very important to use punctuation, proper punctuation in the written stuff. The first function this punctuation is having, first importance, that's clarifying meaning. The first importance is it clarifies meaning. Now punctuation, it helps avoid ambiguity and clarifies the intended meaning of a sentence. I have two examples I'll show you. First I will tell you what does it mean, what does I mean by clarifying meaning. It's punctuation, or these are punctuation marks, which helps a writer to avoid ambiguity and clarify the intended meaning of a sentence. For example, see first example, let's eat grandma. Let's eat, then I have used this comma, punctuation mark. This punctuation mark is separating the sentence, and it is because of this punctuation mark we come to know that the person is inviting grandma to eat, means to eat anything, any food item or anything else. But look upon the second example, let's eat grandma. It means, it is suggesting cannibalism. It means, okay, let's eat grandma, we are going to eat our grandmother. So that is cannibalism. Cannibal is a person who eats human flesh. So this is the beauty of punctuation marks. You can better provide the meaning. You can make your sentences clear. You can give clear or intended meaning to the audience to the readers with the help of punctuation marks. Then separating ideas. So there is another importance of these punctuation marks. What is that? We separate ideas by them. We are separating ideas by them, like punctuation marks such as comma is there, semicolon is there, and colon. They help separate different ideas within a sentence. See, in the first example, I enjoy hiking, camping, and fishing. So there are three items in a series: hiking, camping, and fishing. They have been separated by the commas. Then she needed three things: a map, a compass, and a flag and a flashlight. So colon has one more meaning also. Colon means you need to pay attention for the upcoming details, but it divides the sentence also. So this is colon used. Then emphasizing points. We use punctuation marks to emphasize certain points, to lay stress on certain points. Like punctuation can be used to emphasize certain points or ideas. It can be used to emphasize certain points or ideas, like the project was not a success, it was a disaster. So we have this semicolon here. This semicolon, it emphasizes the contrast between two sentences. The first sentence is the project was not a success, it was a disaster. So this is the use of semicolon to emphasize the contrast. Then, I really, truly, honestly believe in you. So commas emphasizing sincerity. So we have showed here sincerity. Or it's not only sincerity can be shown by the comma. We can show arrogance, we can show sympathy, we can show some other thing. So here it is, its commas are emphasizing sincerity. Then the next point is indicating pauses and rhythm. Commas, ellipses, and dashes are used to indicate pauses and create a specific rhythm in writing. We are having some punctuation marks like comma, like ellipses and dashes. They are used to indicate pause, to stop, and create a specific rhythm in the writing. Like, she paused, took a deep breath, and continued. Now see, comma has been used. At every comma, I stopped for a smaller portion of time. It's not like she paused, took a breath, and continued. That's wrong. It's like this. She paused, took a breath, and continued. Comma is used to indicate short pauses. Now see the use of ellipses. Ellipses are these three dots. The mysterious figure disappeared into the night. So these ellipses are used to create suspense. When a reader is in suspense, he or she doesn't know what happened next. So for that we are using ellipses. Then quoting direct speech. Sometimes we are quoting direct speech of any person. For example, if anybody has spoken anything, we are quoting it, and we quote any statement in inverted commas, in quotation marks. Like, he said, I will be there by 3. Now these are his words and they are put in these commas. So we call these commas as quotation marks. Creating dialogue structure. So this punctuation is also used to create dialogue structure. Like, it's crucial in structuring and organizing dialogue. In order to structure and organize a dialogue, punctuation is needed. Like, John asked, comma, where are you going? I have no idea, comma, Mary replied. You will see there are different punctuation marks used, question mark. Then we have quotation marks, then we have comma, again we have quotation marks. So these punctuation marks are used to structure and organize a dialogue. Connecting and separating clauses is another point which I want to discuss with you. Connecting and separating clauses. Punctuation marks such as a comma is used, or semicolon and conjunctions connect or separate clauses within a sentence. They connect or separate clauses within a sentence. For example, I like coffee but I prefer tea. One example I would like to quote that is, I like coffee but I prefer tea. So conjunction but is used there, which connects two clauses, but before the conjunction but we are bound to use this punctuation mark, comma. She studied hard, then semicolon. Nevertheless, she didn't pass the exam. So it connects two related clauses, the clauses which are related to each other. So we connected them with the help of semicolon. Then guiding reader flow. What is this guiding reader flow? Punctuation, it helps guide the flow of a text, signaling when to pause, stop, or continue reading. It's punctuation which tells us where to stop, where to read, where to go, where to stop, or where to feel surprised, where to ask a question. This all is being spoken to a reader by the punctuation used by the author. So example is, despite the challenges, they persevered and succeeded. So this is an example where we have a comma which makes a short pause in the sentence. Formal and academic writing. What is the use of punctuation in formal and academic writing? In formal and academic writing, proper punctuation is crucial for conveying complex ideas clearly. In order to convey complex ideas clearly in formal writing, we require academic writing. We require punctuation marks. The result of the experiment were inconclusive. Further research is needed. So these are examples. Maintaining consistency. We can maintain consistency with the help of punctuation marks. Like, consistent use of punctuation contributes to the overall coherence and professionalism of a written piece. If we are consistently using punctuation, it contributes to the overall coherence will be there in our writing and professionalism of a written piece, and there will be a professional writer will be inside us. Then I would like to go with another. Then we have part B. Part B also is about long answer questions. So I would like to deliberate on the question, explain the word vocabulary, and write in detail about methods opted for making words in English language. We shall be talking about vocabulary and what are the different methods by which we can create words in English language. So when we talk about definition, we can say vocabulary refers to a set of words known and used by a person or a group of people or within a particular language. Vocabulary means a set of known words which a speaker knows, which a person or a group of people who use these words which they know along with their meaning. It encompasses the entire lexicon of words, including their meanings, pronunciation, and usage. It includes the whole domain of words, which includes their meaning, pronunciation, and usage. So vocabulary is a fundamental aspect of language proficiency, and it plays a crucial role in communication, reading, writing, and comprehension. So we see vocabulary is an important component of a language. So we can better use a language. We can bring proficiency, or we can proficiently speak a language, understand a language, know a language when we are good at oral presentation. When we know vocabulary. Methods for expanding vocabulary in English. What are the different methods which we require to expand vocabulary in English? Number one is reading. The first method to expand vocabulary in English is reading. So here I would like to talk about contextual learning. Reading extensively, it exposes individuals to a wide range of words in different contexts. When you read extensively, it exposes the readers to a wide range of words. You are reading different books, that means you are getting different words. So contextual learning, it helps in understanding the meaning of words without the need for explicit definitions. When you are doing the contextual learning, you are reading a context, you get the knowledge of words because you confront different words, you get the meaning and knowledge of different words. Then diverse genres. What is this diverse genre? Reading various genres including fiction, non-fiction, newspapers and academic texts, they exposes readers to different registers and specialized vocabularies. When you read different genres, like you read novels, you read drama, you read essay, you read newspaper, you read academic texts, so it exposes a reader to different specialized vocabularies. Different specialized words you can learn if you read different genres. Writing, active use. What does it mean? Actively using new words in writing helps reinforce their meanings and enhance retention. If you actively use new words in writing, it will help you in many ways, like to reinforce their meaning, to strengthen their meaning, and it will also help you to enhance retention. You can retain the meaning of these words for a longer period of time if you use the words in your writing. So writing essays, stories or journal entries encourages the incorporation of a diverse vocabulary. When you write essays, when you write stories, or when you write journal entries, it encourages the incorporation of a diverse vocabulary. So you need different or diverse vocabulary you need for writing these different contexts, different genres. Then, word lists and flashcards. Systematic learning, like creating word lists based on themes or difficulty levels and using flashcards for memorization is a systematic approach. If you are creating a word list based on the themes, you chose a theme and you are creating a word list or difficulty levels, and if you are using flashcards for memorization, so these are the best approaches to learn words. This method is particularly useful for learners looking to build a foundation or focus on specific domains. Now, this type of activity, which is going to just boost your vocabulary, can be helpful on specific domains, for example, business and science. Then we have interactive learning, like we have vocabulary apps and online resources. So like using vocabulary building apps and online platforms, they offer interactive and engaging experiences. Online platforms, vocabulary building apps, they are offering an engaging experience to the users. So these tools, they often include games, quizzes and challenges designed to enhance word retention. There are many games or many quizzes or many challenges which are available online by which you can retain your word power, or they are designed to enhance your retention, word retention. Thematic learning. What is this thematic learning? There I would like to talk about categorization. So organizing words based on themes or categories helps in understanding relationship between words. When you organize words on the basis of themes or categories, it will help you to understand relationship between words. For example, grouping words related to emotions, technology, nature facilitates a more structured approach to learning. You can sort out, or you can group the words, like different words for emotions, different words for technology, different words for nature. So by this approach, you can also build your vocabulary. Then language courses and classes. So structured instruction, I would like to talk here. Formal language courses provide structured instructions, introducing learners to new words gradually. These formal language courses, if you are going through a language course, you will see structured instructions are there. And they also introduce learners to new words. So teachers guide students through vocabulary building exercises and activities. Then etymology and roots means that is understanding word origin. Etymology, like exploring the etymology of words and recognizing common prefixes and suffixes like affixes and roots can help decipher the meaning of unfamiliar words. If you love to know the etymology of every word, origin of every word, or if you know the prefix and suffix, or if you know the root words, these activities, these exercises will also help you to be familiar with the unfamiliar words. And by this method, or this method is particularly useful for deducing the meanings of complex or technical terms. Then another device is mnemonic devices. So memory aids, like mnemonic devices such as acronyms, associations, or rhymes, they can aid in remembering the meaning of words. There are some mnemonic devices. These are certain devices, or these are certain suggestions or tricks which help us to understand, which help us to keep the ideas for longer time in our memory, which help us to retain the idea in our mind. So we have like acronyms, like see, there is Indian Space Research Organization. We are not remembering that long term. We only learn ISRO. So it is an acronym. Acronyms, associations, or rhymes, they help us to remember the meanings of different words. Then language exchange and conversations. What is language exchange and conversation? So real life usage. We see engaging in conversations with native speakers or language exchange partners. It exposes learners to colloquial expression and real life usage of words. When you engage in conversation with native speakers or any other speaker who can speak in English language, so you are exposing yourself to the colloquial environment or to the colloquial expression. When you are indulging in this colloquial expression, in the talking, in oral communication, you get to know about different words. And this practical application, it enhances retention and comprehension. Then regular review and practice. So reinforcement, I would like to talk there. Regularly reviewing and practicing previously learned words. When you regularly review and practice previously learned words, it's essential because you can retain those words for the long time in your mind. So it involves like periodic quizzes, self-assessment, or incorporating learned words to everyday conversation. Then we have the part third, which is subject to verb. There is next question, which is subject to verb agreement. Again, for the long answer questions, there is one word which is subject to verb agreement. Subject to verb agreement is a concept of grammar that dictates the subject in a sentence. Like that dictates that a subject in a sentence, it must always agree with the verb in number. With the subject must agree to the verb in a sentence in number. Let's see, there are certain rules I would like to show you. So rules for subject to verb agreement, basic rules. The verb must agree in number with the subject, in number. If the subject is singular, verb must be singular. Subject is plural, verb must be plural. See, we have the first sentence, the cat runs fast. Cat is singular. Runs is the verb which is singular. For the verbs, you need to know if a verb ends with S, that is counted as singular verb. If a verb does not end with S, that's counted as plural. If a verb is in its base form. So cat is singular, we have runs. Singular subject, singular verb. Now here cats, plural subject, run, plural verb in base form. Verb in base form is considered as plural. Verb having SES, IES is considered as singular. Another, now we have singular subject takes singular verbs like this. The book is on the table. The book here is singular. and is singular. Each student has singular subject, singular verb. Then plural subjects. Now we have plural subjects like the books are on the table. Plural books, are is plural. The students have is used with the plural because subject is students is plural. Now there are certain compound subjects are there. Compound subject means when we are having two or more subjects. See, now we have Tom and Jerry are friends. So the rule is when subjects are joined by and, use a plural verb. When you have two subjects or more than two subjects, when they are joined by and, you need to use plural subject. Now when subjects are joined by or nor, use a verb that agrees with the nearer subject. We can use that verb which agrees with the nearer subject. Like, see, neither the cat nor the dogs. So dogs is nearer to the verb, so are is used here. Had it been like neither the cats nor the dog, then we will have to use is, because when we are using nor and or in a sentence, when a sentence starts with nor or, when a sentence contains nor or, so we have to use the verb will agree with the subject which is nearer to it. Then we have indefinite pronoun, then we have collective noun. There are rules given with these nouns and there are certain exceptions. I would like to quickly jump to the third part of the question, this question bank. That's part C, short answer questions. Here I would like to talk about one-word substitutes. Advantage of one-word substitutes. So one-word substitute, it offers conciseness, precision, efficiency in communication. Our communication becomes to the point, brief, efficient when we use one-word substitution. So what can it give us? It saves our time. See, replace lengthy phrases with a single word. When we replace a long sentence, for example, I have to write that the person is present everywhere. So, or I am writing only omnipresent. So there is no need to write a long sentence like he is present everywhere. So I can only write he is omnipresent. Or I can only write omnipresent. That means present everywhere. So it saves our time. Enhances clarity. When we use these one-word substitutes, they provide a clear and specific alternative. They reduce the risk of ambiguity. Because we are precise, we are to the point. There is no chance of ambiguity. Facilitate memorization. They help in memory retention due to the simplicity of a single word. Help in memory retention. In order to retain our memory due to simplicity of a single word. So we can bring these one-word substitutes, they help in memory retention. We can retain this in the memory because there is a single word which we need to know. Elevate style. It makes your style of writing more polished and more sophisticated. Streamline communication. It helps to streamline your communication, especially in technical fields. It adds variety to your communication and at the same time, it improves readability. It boosts vocabulary because you are coming up to know new words. It fosters precision and it serves as a mnemonics. So this is what I want to tell you. This is where I finish my lecture today. If you want some extra information, there are references given. You can go with the references. You can get some extra material through these books. So I would like to stop here. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.